A frequency polygon is a statistical graph that uses line segments connected to points located directly above the midpoint values on a histogram. So let's look at an example using a histogram that was created using our test score data that we had when we created a frequency distribution. So these are the 50 statistic test scores. The students took the 50 students took the test, and we recorded their scores, and then we summarized that in a frequency distribution. And recall that we said we would use midpoints here to label the bars as that representative value to label the bars. So a frequency polygon is created by locating the midpoints at the top of these bars and then connecting those points with line segments. So let's do that here. Remember, our first class was that 10 to 19 class, and our representative value is 14.5. So here's our midpoint for each one at the top of the bar. Okay, and then we'll come back and connect these with a line segment. Now I'll draw as straight as I can. I'd much rather use a straight edge if I could. Not terribly straight, but we'll get the idea. Okay, so now we've created the frequency polygon. We can see it better then as the histogram goes away and we put it on our grid. So the points are now directly above the midpoint, and we have our line segments connecting the points. Now, why would we want a frequency polygon when we already had a histogram? Well, say for example you want to compare two sets of data. It would not be useful to overlap two histograms. One would just completely cover up the other. However, if, for example, these same 50 students took their second test in statistics, and those grades were summarized in a frequency distribution, and then we created a histogram for those, we might have something like this. We'll create a frequency polygon for this one and then overlap those on the same graph, and we'll be able to make a comparison between test 1 and test 2. So let's locate those midpoints right here at the top of the bar, and connect with line segments. Okay, so we've connected the dots and the histogram goes away. We'll look at those on our blank grid and overlap with our other data set, and we can get a feel for the shape of the data of the two data sets and the distribution. Not a whole lot different in these two data sets. Sometimes you might see more variation, but obviously it's much easier now to make that comparison by putting them on the same graph, on the same frequency polygon.